Like the rest of you, we're trying to make sense of this crazy thing that we call life. I'm RJ.
I'm Khalil.
And welcome to Try Not to Overthink It. I'm a licensed professional counselor.
And I'm a licensed social worker.
Every day we find ourselves discussing many different topics ranging from trending news to the state of our society as a whole. You name it, we've probably talked about it. After many heated debates, we decided to expand and share our conversations and share them with you from both a therapist and social worker standpoint, and hopefully get your input. If this is your first time here, we'd like to thank you for checking us out. We hope you'll stay and become part of our tribe, as well as participate in the conversations. This is episode 2 and part 2 of the topic of relationships. Right. So last time we talked about, the different facets of a relationship. In this episode, we'll start it off talking about, people and unconditional love. So it has been my experience in interacting with people is one of the things that we struggle with nowadays is loyalty and respect and honor. I've noticed that people want you to love them unconditionally, but there are conditions that they place on you in order to receive their love. Right. And that perplexes me. When you say, because everyone throws that word out like, oh, this person, I love this person. I ride or die with this person. They use it loosely because it's cute to say. It's sexy to say, I want it so bad, like I want to breathe, or, these different phrases that sound really good when you say them out loud. But when the actions don't match the words, it comes across as paradoxical to me, because I've seen that when you're down bad, like really bad, like rock bottom, you really find out who's in your corner. Everyone talks the loyalty talk and I love this person and I'm ride or die. But when it's time to be loyal, people get ghost on you. People get rough. Yeah, when times get rough, that's when you really see who's really there in your corner. And that's what a relationship should be built upon, because I'm not saying that everyone is going to struggle right off the bat in a relationship. But the way I look at it is I come to the party with the same people that rode with me to the party. If we can't grind together, we can't struggle together, we can't suffer together, we can't shine together. Right. And I include that in every facet of my life, not just my romantic life, but my personal life, my professional life. Like if we can't go through something together, like there's something about going through the struggle together, right. Embracing the suck together, embracing the grind together, that brings people closer together. You appreciate people more. And I know like last episode, that was one of the things that I was talking about was the way we don't value each other right now. Right. It just kind of comes across like people are just replaceable. Like, the moment that our relationship, like one of the guys I watch on YouTube, his name is DJ Academics. And, a lot of his, like he reports on news across hip hop and even current events. Right. And one of the things that he always talks about is people are only as loyal as the last time you fed them. Right. And like when he said that, I thought that was the most hilarious thing ever, but it's true though. When you're in relationships with people and you really get a chance to really see if they're truly there for you, quick way. And watching, shows like Divorce Court and watching some of these other, like I grew up, my grandmother had me watching soap operas, she called them her stories. Yeah.
Every grandma got you doing that. My grandmother did the same thing.
Yeah. She had me watching, Price is Right, her stories, and then In the Heat of the Night. So one of the things that, was brought to my attention when I would watch these stories was, sometimes people would go to court, for divorce proceedings. And then you'd have some lawyer pull out a prenup. And, got me to thinking like, as an adult, when you go into a marriage or you go into a relationship, we talked about this last episode of setting standards, setting, from the gate, from the start, what the expectation is. The expectation is I'm going into this marriage, I'm going into this relationship, especially if I know that it's going seriously. I'm going into it with the expectation this is going to last forever. Because and that's something that bothers me too nowadays is people do not take their wedding vows seriously.
Right.
You know, when you get married to somebody, that's not something to play with. That's not something to play with to me. Being raised the way that I was raised, you know, you take an oath and vows before God.
Right. Even if you don't believe in God or with the God of your understanding, anytime you're taking an oath in front of a judge, you get what I'm saying, or whoever they use. You can go to the courthouse, whoever they use, the official that you use for that wedding. You know, you're setting a totally different expectation once you do something like that you're going to be loyal to that other person for the rest of your life.
So even with being loyal though, like being in a relationship with somebody and toughing it out.
Right?
I've seen some people have shitty relationships and they settle. And I mean, right. and so they think that I have a shitty relationship because and I settle because I can't get anything else. I can't get anyone better. I can't do any better than where I am. And they think that I'm going to be alone if I leave. And I'm telling you this right here. It's better to be alone than to be in a relationship where you're settling.
Right.
Because I worked with a young lady a few years back, where her and her boyfriend, because they're not even married, her and her boyfriend, they've got 4 kids together.
Wow.
And so they were moving into a new apartment from the house they were staying in. They're moving into a new apartment, and he flat out refused.
3-bedroom apartment.
I can't remember. I think it may have been.
Right.
So, she asked me, you know, she's like, "Hey, can you help me move?" Blah 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 blah. I said, "Yeah, too easy." She's like, "Well, what are you going to charge?" I was like, "A bag of candy. You know, give me a bag of candy. I'll help you move." I'm very easy when it comes to helping people. Like I don't ask for much. You know, food is my my currency. Right. So I'm like, give me a bag of candy, a big bag of M&Ms, and we're good to go. So when she tells her boyfriend, they're still together. When she tells him, "Hey, you know, RJ is going to help me move," he immediately felt some kind of way. And they actually broke up temporarily while I helped them move. Like to the point.
Wait. So he did not want your help to move.
Yeah.
So he must have had a lineup of people willing to help. He must have had his homeboys, Tyrone and them, must have already been there. Like, so we don't need RJ no more.
So no, he didn't. I mean, crazy. This dude was the sorriest excuse of a guy that, because I can't even call him a man. I can't even call him a man because, again, your girlfriend, the mother of your children, is working not 1 but 2 jobs to support you while you sit your ass at the house.
Oh, so he's the babysitter.
Well,
I don't want to babysit his kids. So he stayed at home. He was a stay-at-home dad. Mr. Mom.
He was a stay-at-home dad. So this was a crazy thing. It wasn't like he was babysitting the kids because the kids were all of school age, so they were at school all day.
They weren't even in the house.
So she's at work working like a Hebrew slave while he's laying up at the house doing nothing.
Well, he had to be selling marijuana,
smoking weed, and eating good. So my man,
I'm not trying to be a stereotype, but he had to be selling drugs because.
So I would. So this is my thing. I want to believe the best in everybody. So I'm not gonna put that on that man.
Right.
But he just definitely wasn't. He wasn't what I would consider a man. As a male, he wasn't. He was what you would call a zeta male. He wasn't even a beta male or an omega male. He was a zeta male, where he was so on the low. He was just a bum. And so what tripped me out was when we pulled up to her new place, and we're unloading like the beds and everything and all the boxes. He's in the apartment. He refused to come outside and help me get the stuff off the truck.
Well, so you were moving. He was like, "Well, RJ gonna do his damn self."
So my thing was she goes into the back room and she said something to him about it because I could hear her, and they get to arguing. And so in my mind, I'm like, I had to say a prayer. Lord, please don't have this man come out here, because if he comes out here with this loud foolishness, I'm gonna put these hands on him. I'm gonna put these hands on him. And
fight today.
because I was already feeling some kind of way that you as a man as you are supposed to be the provider, and your woman is having to do the role of both the man and the woman in this relationship. She's having to be the man and the woman, and you contribute nothing of meaning to this relationship. But then you have the audacity to get mad because you didn't take the initiative to take care of your family. You have the audacity to fix your mouth to get mad that her male coworker is having to come help her because you so sorry that you won't even take care of your family.
Well, there's a problem there in the first place, because if he didn't have things arranged previously before she should have never asked you, because he should have already had things arranged. I got somebody to help us move. I have the moving truck. I have the schedule down packed, because he's not working. You get what I'm saying?
He had no excuse not to have stuff together.
That was the okie doke right there. Because if I know a woman's asking me to move, I must be like, I'm gonna ask, well, I know you live with your boyfriend. He must be helping you move too. I must be meeting up with him, because I'm not going to move by myself.
And that's what I thought, but it wasn't. It was me and her. And so that wasn't even the kicker. That wasn't even the kicker. What was the crazy part about it was after I left, they really got into it, because he stayed in the back room. So we finished unloading everything and I went on my way. So what was the crazy part about it was he then accused her of cheating with me.
Well, you were the easiest scapegoat, because he knew he already got himself in trouble by the foolishness he was doing earlier. So of course he's gonna have to bring it up a few notches. Oh, you must be cheating with him. That's the reason why you asked him to move, because she probably laid into him so hard about him not coming to help you. Of course he's gonna turn it up a notch. He already knows his manhood is on the line now, so he's gonna have to make it look like the reason why I didn't help is because I know you messing with RJ. You've been smashing RJ for the longest. That's why he's helping you move. He's just not a good dude. No dude's just going to be good. That's the mindset of people in the world anyway. And everybody's susceptible to that. But he should have already had somebody willing to help. I would need you. If it's me, I'm already going to have somebody willing to, or I paid somebody.
So that brings me to my next point, though. So we have this philosophy as human beings where people can't just do something nice for you without wanting something in return. Like we are all automatically thinking that someone is trying to do something shisty or something shifty to me all the time. Someone can't just do something nice for me out of the goodness of my heart. So I don't doubt that as a man, because men, we're very territorial about things that belong to us.
Right.
If this is my lady, I'm gonna be pretty interested. Like, hey, who that dude over there? I'm gonna be asking questions too. But at the end of the day, as a man, I would have stepped up and I would have made sure things were provided and things were handled for my wife, for the mother of my child, whatever she is, my partner, my significant other, my helpmate. She shouldn't have to worry about those things. But
even though he might not have liked you, he should have come out there, introduced himself, and
shook my hand.
Thank you for helping us. I couldn't find nobody, whatever the case was, but I'm gonna run with you so we can get this done.
Facts. That's what should have happened, but that wasn't what happened. So then they get to argue and they break up. So the next day she's at work, she's all depressed, she's sad. So I ask her what happened. So she tells me they done broke up and this and the third. And so he had accused her of cheating with me. And so then he tells her, well, she says, I'm gonna leave. And he said, well, you ain't going nowhere. And she's like, how you figure I'm not going nowhere? Ain't nobody gonna want you with all those kids.
Wow.
And so
that shows his character right there, because that's
exactly
real dirty.
So
your kids.
Yeah, they're your kids. And so that got me to thinking, because for me, I am really huge into animals. I'm really big into animals. I would have, I feel like if I wasn't so allergic to everything that's outside, I would have been a veterinarian in a different life. I would have been a veterinarian.
You're allergic to everything.
I'm allergic to everything.
RJ sneezes at anything.
Yeah, pretty much. If it grow outside, I'm gonna be sneezing. So, one of the things that I always relate to is the fact that one, I'm a Leo, but also I've always had this thing about lions. Lions and chickens. I don't know why, but my mom, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a rooster. when I grew up. I didn't know that people couldn't be chickens, but I had this fascination with chickens. My grandmother had a farm and had chickens, and I'd be outside watching chickens. And so I wanted to be a chicken. But
so you must have never watched them get their head cut off.
I never saw that piece. I never saw that part. Never saw that.
The head get wrung.
I never saw that part. But for me, being so fascinated with lions, and even being, my astrological sign being a Leo, one thing that you notice about lions is lions protect their pride. Right. Lions protect each other. The male lion, his job is not to hunt. His job is to protect the pride. And when a male lion gets ousted from the pride that he is in, the first thing that the new male lion does is he kills all cubs that do not belong to him. The reason he does that is because I don't want for two reasons. One, it eliminates the competition for his genetics. And two, female lions cannot be in heat if they are rearing and taking care of cubs. Right. So in order to bring female lions into heat faster, he will kill all the previous male lions cubs. And two, to eliminate competition with his genetics. Right. So I say that to say this, there's this double standard of men and women where it's okay we are taught as men that it's okay, and it's backwards, and it's archaic, and it's just of ignorance, that it's okay for you to knock down everything that walks. Right. You the man, if you done knock down, you done run through all of these women, you done talk to all these women, you will play because there was a whole movie, and I remember watching it when I was younger, How to Be a Player, where he had step by step where he's narrating how he's juggling I think it was like 8 women. Yeah. And we have this antiquated thought process where that's cool. But then when a woman does it, as Future says, she for the streets. So my thing is, if whether you're a man or a woman, if you out here doing, being community, anybody, you for the streets. If you're a man or a woman, you're out here just laying up and sleep with everybody, you are for the streets. We have to hold everybody
who are for the streets.
Yeah.
Every people, that's your decision. Especially when you got to go to the urgent care clinic and you have a VD, that's for you. That's why. And look, you know what I'm saying? I done been there and done that. And I already know what it is. So when you're lining up doing that, that's when you can really, start to wear. You got your T-shirt and you're wearing it. You a PIMP. You can have it. It's all yours.
And the thing about it is this right here, like, you have to look at yourself as property. You have to look at yourself as having worth and having value. Think of yourself like a slice of pizza or a hamburger. Like for me, when I go to like Burger King, McDonald's, I get my burgers plain. I don't like a whole bunch of stuff on my burger.
Right.
Especially if I know I'm having to drive and eat at the same time. I don't want to walk. I hate to have stains on my clothes. So I just get my burger plain. My pizza night, like my pizza with toppings and everything else like that. Who's eating pizza and driving at the same time? Nobody.
Yeah. Some people, depending on how.
Depending on how busy things are, it just depends.
That episode of 400 Pound Life when it was a girl and a dude, and they crushed them pizzas before they got home because they didn't want to share.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Hey, I'm so foolish because I only remember that episode. There was a couple episodes that were wild, but only that because I thought to myself, y'all couldn't wait till y'all got home. That was foolish.
So when you think of yourself like a slice of pizza or a hamburger, who wants to eat a slice of pizza there? Somebody has picked with the pepperoni. Somebody's flicked the sausage off. Somebody's been, nibbling on the peppers or touching the crust. Nobody does. And so the thing that we have to understand that our past can and will catch up with you.
Always does.
And when you're out here just sharing yourself with everybody, because like I said in our last episode, everyone does not have the right to sit down and hear your story.
Right.
They just don't. And so you end up putting time and energy into places that end up being a waste of your time. And time is something that you can't get back. It's not like money, food, gas, once your time is gone, it's gone. And so once you get past a certain age, like I say, like 21, you got any person that you are talking to, dating, courting, cake baking, whatever you want to call it, they could potentially be a mate for life.
Right.
You know, and so to me, like I said in our last episode, I'm not going to, like, for me personally, I believe in economy of energy. Some people call it being lazy, but I'm not going to invest my time and energy in anything that is not going to make me better, that is not going to push me, that is not going to enrich my life, that is not going to add, that is not going to multiply my life. Why? Because if it is not doing those things, it is doing the exact opposite. It's sucking the life out of me. So when a person is leaving, deuces. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to beg you, because the reason, especially when someone is breaking up with you.
Well, with her situation with the young lady, and having that many children, I could see why she would think twice, because, hey, I have 4 kids with this person. I don't have 1. I don't have 2. Because even with 2, my mother left with 2. All right. Because my dad was a drug addict and a leech. All right. So she said, you know what, I'm going to have to try this on my own. But she told me how difficult that was, because she said, well, I got 2 kids. This is a situation when the lady has 4, and you need some help. I mean, there's some women I've seen do it with 4, 5 kids, and but you need some help. So that's part of the paranoia that is going to start going on in your mind. Like, if I leave, then I don't have no help. Sometimes I use his family to help. Sometimes I use, whatever income that person might have. So I could see her having to have that second thought. But what he said was definitely of low moral character. What man gonna want you? She might find somebody who can't have kids, and it'll take her with 4. You know?
Yeah. I mean, so what you're saying is very true. I definitely agree with that. Like, for him, he used that as an anchor to keep her in place. Right. Like, you ain't going nowhere. So I can be a bum. I can be a sorry excuse for a man and not do what I'm supposed to do, because who gonna want you? Right. And I mean, these are things I say that I share this story with our female listeners because I want you guys to take something from that when you're out here, the most precious gift that a female can give to a man is herself.
Right.
Is yourself. You can't there's nothing you can buy that is going to equate to the value that a woman has to a man. And so when a man truly loves you, a man is truly respectful of you, of who you are innately as a person, not just, what you can give him physically.
Right.
He is going to cherish and he is going to honor that. And if the man that you are with is not doing those things, meaning if he's calling you out your name, he's talking to you in a disrespectful manner, a manner that that if a man off the street spoke to his mother like that, he'd be trying to drag him.
Right.
Hey, that dude ain't for you. Like, we get into a lot of relationships where, and women much more so than men, because when you look at things from the way that we are raised from very small, we're taught to be a certain way. So for women are taught to be nurturing and caring, because when you look at the toys that they're given, they're gearing them towards that. You're giving doll babies. You're giving nurse sets. You're giving kitchen sets and tea sets.
Norms.
All the things that are gearing you towards being the antiquated version of the perfect or ideal female. Whereas men are given guns, we're given knives, we're given action figures that are, anatomically not necessarily always correct, where the dude just swole. There's no way he's walking through a normal door if he was human size.
Right.
He can't even scratch his back if he had to, because he got so many muscles. We're given toys that, as males, we're given toys that make us tough and make us rugged, and we're told
Tonka
that
trucks.
Tonka trucks, and we're told that it's not okay to cry.
Damage stuff in the house.
So things like that, as women, you're kind of shoehorned into thinking that you have to fix things that are broken.
Right.
Where when you get with a man or you get into a relationship, especially when you recognize that this man or this male or whoever you're with is broken, is a broken individual, you go into it thinking, if I love them hard enough, or I give them enough time, I put enough, I can change them. And I can tell you this, you have to stop trying to fix things you didn't break.
Well,
it's not your,
we
do.
We do. Captain Save-A-Hose, right?
But yeah, 3 6 Mafia had a whole song about
it. There's a lot of people, but it's the person that actually feels as if it's their job.
Yeah, and it's not.
It's not your job to make anybody better.
It's not.
But there's a lot of people with that personality trait where they believe they can fix or change someone. And for you, the psychology behind it, but a lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't. People go into this mentality thinking that they can save people. You can't save people that don't want to save themselves.
Right.
I can't work harder at the relationship than you are. We got to work at it together. So you have to come to the realization that you have to stop trying to fix things you didn't break. It's not your job to. Some people and some things are just broken. You didn't break them. You didn't break the person. You didn't break the thing. But when you are going into it with the savior mindset, you will end up breaking yourself and trying to fix somebody else.
Well, and I think that's the Christian mindset as well. We want to be that extension of God. You want to be that extension of righteousness. You want to be able, to help someone else. You want to be able to, care for those who can't care for themselves. But like you were saying, some relationships, if that person is by nature a predator and they've been preying on you, leeching off of you, you could get fooled. There's a lot of people who get fooled. Women are predators too. You know what I mean? Most to get in with a guy that's got a good job and he's got money and use and abuse him as well.
But that goes into what I was saying in our last episode about setting expectations, and then even in this episode about understanding conditional love. Right. You love me as long as I'm doing what you tell me to do.
Right.
You love me as long as I act the way you want me to act. I dress the way you want me to dress. I say the things that you want me to say. I'm willing to put this giant ring on your finger. Like, I've dated girls that were like that, where they're just in such a rush. It's like a race. And the thing about everything in life, it's not a 100-yard dash. It's a marathon. And so if you've ever been in a foot race with people, you have some people, boom, they break off running right off the bat, not understanding that you got to pace yourself. Right. Because you put all this energy into the beginning of the relationship, you burn out and peter out towards the end of the relationship. And that's where people get in these ruts. That's where people start having these issues. That's where people start having these disconnects and these problems. And that's where relationships start to fall apart. You start to grow apart because you don't have the time and the energy to maintain that consistency that you had in the very beginning.
It's not sustainable.
And that's where I can tell you that's what love is. That person that's willing to put in that work consistently and show up every single day, regardless if it's convenient for them or not. That person right there, you need to hold on to them. You really need to hold on to them. Because for me, one of the things that I've learned through just experiencing other males, being around other males, especially males that were positive influences on my life, I've noticed that there's two types of males in this world. There are nice guys, and then there are good men. Your nice guys are going to be the guys that are super emotional. It don't take much to make them mad. They're passive aggressive. They're not good mates. They're lazy and sorry, have no values, and they're untrustworthy. You can't depend on them for anything. But then you have the good men who are confident, who are going to be supportive, who are servant-minded, who put themselves last and put you first and your children first and whatever you got going on first, who are capable of leading you, who inspire and empower you as their mate. And then they're willing to be ferocious and step into things to make sure that you never have to suffer through things. And if you do have to suffer through things, you're not by yourself. Like, I can count on this person.
Right.
But on top of doing all of those things, after they done spent a whole day waging war, they come home and are soft enough to where they can just want to play with their kids. They want to spend time with their kids. You can't tell them nothing about their kids. Like, though, that is the type of man that I as a man growing up, I chose to aspire to become. You know, as a therapist and watching people go through relationships, watching them go through the struggles, complain about the stuff. And so I ask, you know, I ask myself, and I even ask them sometimes, and because sometimes I think things in my mind, but sometimes I say them out loud, thinking I'm saying it in my mind. You know, because a lot of times I walk around with headphones on because I just don't want to keep going back and forth with my hands and answering the phone. So I wear headphones. So a lot of times I'll be listening to music while I'm doing some documentation or something, and somebody will ask me something, and I'll be thinking in my head. And because you have headphones on, you're thinking you're saying it in your head, but you're saying it out loud. But you know, I remember working at Walmart when I was in undergrad, and this young lady was like, her husband is boring. And so she was a little bit older than us, wasn't that much older than us, but she was still a little bit older than us, maybe 2 or 3 years older than us. And so I asked her, I was like, didn't you know that he was boring when you guys were dating?
Right.
And she's just like, well, we didn't really date. I was like, well, what were you guys doing? You know, I didn't.
What's that?
What were you guys doing then if you guys weren't dating? Because I had always been taught through what I'd seen on TV. And then what I'd watch my parents do, my dad would take my mom out on dates. My dad would take my stepmom out on dates. Yeah. I watched him open the door for my stepmom. He walks on the outside, like if we're walking on a sidewalk, he walks on the side.
It's supposed to be on the inside.
Yeah, women aren't supposed to be on the inside. And, you know, watching him do those things. So me being an undergrad, that was alien to me to know that your dude wasn't taking you on dates. Your man wasn't making you feel special, like you're the one and only person in this world. Because you know, I can tell you that if a man is truly into you, it doesn't matter what woman steps in front of him. She's invisible.
She was saying throughout their relationship, they never dated. Is that what I'm hearing?
What I'm thinking. What I shoot.
If you never date somebody, did their parents arrange the marriage, or did he just knock her up? It was one night stand. You know what I'm saying? He busted down, got her pregnant. That is what I'm on.
So that's what I'm thinking happened. That's what I'm thinking happened. Because
wedding, huh?
And so my thing is, you know, he did the right thing in wanting to, you know, be a cohesive unit and be a family. You know, I can't knock him for that. But my thing is, it goes back to what we were saying in our last episode of getting to know people before you're just laying up and just doing stuff. There's more to someone than you're cute, I'm cute. Let's rub together. No, we need to get to know each other, because you need to know before you get married to somebody that they're boring, that they don't want to do nothing. All they want to do is sit at home. Because like for me, for example, me personally, I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies. You know, I don't need other people to be entertained. I'll find stuff to do.
Yeah, you can entertain yourself.
I can entertain myself. I love to draw. I love to paint. I love to read. I love to watch TV.
We're gonna show
video games
artwork too, because he has artwork of me, folks. So yes, we will show that, because it's.
I'm gonna draw you a poo emoji.
So me, I look good in the picture too.
So me, you know, now I can go out and interact with people, but I'm good at interacting with people. I never come across a stranger. You know, it's very easy for me to talk to people, but am I one of those people I need to be around other people? No. Right. But in being one of those people that doesn't need to be around other people, that's something that if we're dating, that's a conversation we have from the very beginning.
Right.
You know, we don't always have, I dated one young lady where she equated love to you spending a lot of money on her.
Right. And you know, yeah, that's something she probably got from a young age, or her family, or whatever.
Well, so for them, their family was like a weird dynamic type situation. I used to make jokes and call them like the Braxtons and the Black Kardashians, because like it's pretty much only females.
Oh wow.
The only males are her dad, and then she had an uncle that recently passed away, and then that was it. Everybody else is female. Even the kids are female. So, you know, she and I would butt heads constantly. She's a Leo.
Concept of what a man should be, because her dad probably used to catering to everybody. I mean,
And so, and that's what it was. And so like I had to ask her one day, because we would go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so like as I matured, because we'd been dating for a while, as I matured, I realized if we're truly in a relationship and I love you as much as I say that I love you, I'm not going to keep going back and forth with you.
Right.
I'm just not. I would rather be right and be wrong in the moment and let you have that, because it's more important for you to be right than it is for me to be right.
Right.
Than to argue and debate with you and make you feel and make you keep going and make you feel like I'm not hearing you and I'm devaluing your feelings. And so for her, she would always attribute, oh, we're both Leos. No, we're not both Leos. But the thing is, like, and we had to sit down and have a conversation about that. You have to let the man be the man. You can't be the man, and we can't both be men. And
that's a topic right there. There's a lot of women who are afraid. We talked about this for a little bit before too, that are afraid to have a man lead them because they've seen such inconsistency throughout their childhood when men led. Like their dads that were the head of the household were failures. You get what I'm saying? And that has an impact on some women. My dad left my mom. My dad was never this. My dad was never that. Or, but a woman who had a stable father figure, all right, they will respect you differently than a woman whose dad did everything the mother said. The mom was wearing the pants. So you have to think about that. Some women don't have that concept of a man leading. They never.
I mean, and that's the thing where it's very important for us as men, when we have children, to be in our child's life, right. Because when you walk out of it's kind of like a puzzle piece. All the pieces go together. If you have 100 count puzzle, all the pieces go together. You have 1,000 piece puzzle, all the pieces go together. When you're missing a piece, there's a gap that's going to be missing when you complete the whole puzzle. So when you have a child and the father or the mother are not there, there's a piece of the puzzle that's missing. So, excuse me, when the pieces are missing, anything can be fit into that spot. The time and energy you as a father are not putting into your kids, the time and energy you as a mother are not putting into your kids, someone else is going to put that time in. Right. And that someone else could be somebody off the street, could be, some rando person.
Right. Somebody with horrible intentions.
Exactly. And so, but also not even just that, but when your kid is missing certain facets of education in regards to how to love people and how to receive love, they start to pick up on the world's values of what it means to be loved and show love. Right. So the world's value of show love and be loved is conditional. It's with conditions. It's not with, like truly, I really am into you. It's as long as I can get something from you, I'm with you. But the moment that this situation isn't beneficial for me, I never really liked you too tough anyway.
Right. So
it's amazing.
It's transactional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That just is how a lot of relationships are. There's a transaction theory. We know about that through psychology. And
yeah.
So, hey, if I know that if I do this for you, you're going to do this for me, we might even decide to get married on that note.
Nope. I mean,
you're helping me pay these bills. You're helping me build get me my life insurance. I have a friend. The reason why him and his wife were together, they were both helping pay bills so they could live, and also she needed some insurance. I mean, and it was a cooperative agreement, and that's
a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, a lot of people have those type of relationships. It's a business agreement. It happens. That stuff is normal.
Normal. But this is the thing. What happens when the relationship is no longer beneficial for both of us? Now people's feelings. Then I gotta go and you gotta go, and then there's a fight. And so for me, one thing I've learned in life, the best way I can equate it is to what Nipsey Hussle said, and one of his songs was, "Don't expect you from other people."
Right.
When you go into situations expecting here when reality is here. So this is reality. Your expectations are here. You're not surprised. When you go into the situation with reality here and your expectations are here, you will always be disappointed.
Right.
Especially in the courtship phase. Exactly. And I mean, everyone, you like you said, some people go into relationships looking to get something from somebody else. Right. And so what I've learned is that it's imperative that you go into the situation knowing what you are expecting. Go into the relationship, go into the courtship process with the expectation that this may not go anywhere. But I'm open to receiving what comes along with it, rather it be a lesson, rather that be companionship, rather that be growth. You should go into the relationship with the expectation of being willing to gain something from it. Because I know it sounds cliche and it sounds antiquated and outdated, but it is very true. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Right. You know, you either win or you learn. And the mistake that most of us make, especially most of us under the age of, say, 40, make the same mistake every relationship we go into, where we don't learn from our past relationship. Right. We'll get out of one relationship and immediately get right into another one. And then the same, because you haven't taken any time to reassess, reevaluate, and recalibrate yourself. Realign on everything, your emotions, your feelings, your spirit, your flesh, you know, your mind. Take your time and get you together. Right. Before you get into another relationship with somebody else, you'll just get into another relationship to try to cover up the feelings that you had from the past. And what happens is you start to bring past problems into the present. Bring into the new. And that's right. There have been times where I've been in relationships with young ladies and I'm paying for the crimes of the man of the past. Right. Oh, he cheated on me, so you gonna cheat on me. Right. He did this to me, so you gonna do that to me. So I'm always having to prove that I'm not that type of man. And the thing that I had to realize was I don't have nothing to prove because I didn't do it to you.
Well, it automatically puts you behind the 8 ball. You always have to prove yourself to someone who's carrying that type of emotional baggage, right? So if she brought in from the last relationship a cheating spouse, a cheating boyfriend, an abusive spouse, an abusive boyfriend, or all those things together, and brings it into a relationship with you. At this time, if she's never healed, if she hasn't gotten counseling, your trauma response is always going to be precedent before anything else, because my amygdala in my brain has already taken a snapshot of everything that's ever gone wrong when we are dealing with any type of traumatic event. And yes, you catch your partner cheating. Yes, you get abused. Yes, all those different things. Your brain takes snapshots of that, and if it sees anything that resembles that, we start having that trauma response. You start getting hyper vigilant. You start getting paranoid. Your sensory motor operations, everything starts, becoming heightened and overly aware, and you're overwhelmed and overstimulated. And next thing you know, you're sitting there, especially the person who's not doing anything wrong. You're having to deal with someone who's running around with their flight or fight response system going in over drive. What are you supposed to do with that? You're gonna. If you're smart, you can get away from a person that's operating.
So the best thing that you can do if you find yourself in that type of relationship is to encourage the person to get counseling. Right. There's nothing wrong with getting, as we're both mental health providers, and we both can tell you that there's nothing wrong with getting counseling, talking to someone, because again, it doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you broken, it doesn't make you less than to sit down with someone to help process your thoughts, process your feelings, unpack some of that emotional baggage, because again, your emotions are like a hose once you turn the water on. Right. If you crimp it, that water's going somewhere. That pressure is going to build and build and build. So either it's going to come out the pipe this way, or it's going to explode the pipes underneath the house. One of the two. And so to me, that's something that, I was in a relationship with a young lady. As a matter of fact, the same young lady that I told you was a part of the Black Kardashians. Mm-hmm. I recommended for her to go get counseling. And the reason
she didn't take
I recommended, she did. To her credit, she did go to counseling. Because again, what happens is you have so much trauma that you are carrying with you, so many battle wounds and scars from going into combat all the time that have not healed, and you have not dealt with, that you can't be successful in a relationship that you're in, because you're always thinking that there's danger around the corner every time you step. And so things like marriage, things like a serious commitment, a family are impossible, whether you're male or female, if someone's taking a step to you and you're constantly taking steps back from them because you're afraid that they're going to pull out the knife and get you in the neck.
Right. You
and
can't
so
trust people.
You can't trust people. Yeah. And a relationship is doomed to fail from the onset if you can't trust the person that you're with. And so that's why it's very, 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 very important that you take the time to work on you. As human beings, we spend so much time working on the outside of us, making sure our teeth are straight, making sure our grill is clean. We ain't got no plaque and debris stuck in our teeth. Our hair is combed. We spend so much time on the outside, but don't spend any time on our inside. Don't make sure our mental is right. Don't make sure our spiritual is right. Don't make sure our emotions are right. Because again, I can tell you, if those three things aren't right, the rest of you is just a facade.
Right.
It's a facade.
You're a walking garbage can.
You're not even a walking garbage can. You are a landmine. You are a landmine, because what you are going to do is you're going to bring your chaos into someone else's life and be a hurricane in that bad boy. You're going to literally be a Category 5 hurricane that has made landfall and is tearing the city up, because you have problems and then you bring your problems into someone else's life.
Well, and so because nobody confronted that person. Because people are used to, especially in the African-American community, we're used to people having those trauma responses. I was used to having females, when they're upset, yell at me. Not knocking my mother, but when my mother be stressed out coming home from work, she would yell at me.
Mom would too.
Yeah, but I was used to it. So when I got in the first relationship with a female who didn't know how to handle her emotions, and when she got riled up, she would yell at me, I actually accepted it, because I figured, oh, she just stressed out. It's all right. No, it wasn't all right. It got worse. It's not. Trying to deal with this young lady, it got worse. But we're used to that if you grow up in an environment where that's commonplace.
Well, it becomes normalized, and I mean, I can tell you that it's not normal
to be in a phone. You checking my calls, my texts. You throwing my phone. You cussing me out, and then the next day you smiling in my face like nothing happened, and we done had sex and made up. There's a problem.
That's called toxic.
Very toxic.
That's called toxic.
Normalized in the culture. It's
not even in just our. Not even just our culture.
Before, she loves me. That's why she does that.
Well, not even just that. When what's her name? I can't remember. I can't remember one of the ladies from on TV. She's she is some sort of personality. I can't remember what her name is. I can see her face, but I can't think of her name. She was talking about how, we all know the whole Meg Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez thing going on right now. Mm-hmm. So, we ain't really going to get into that. But she was just like, I wish somebody loved me that much where they willing to shoot at me. Who wants that? And I just had to think, and so when she got fired from her modeling job, then all of a sudden, I'm deeply sorry. I apologize, ma'am. Get out of here with that,
ma'am.
Ma'am, because
I'm escorting you
because you're out of order. Like, to me, that's not love. If someone will put hands on you, like you're some stranger off the street, they don't love you. If someone would talk to you any type of way, and they cannot put their pride aside enough to walk away from you and just, hey, let's put time out. Let's put a pause on this conversation right now, because we being disrespectful.
Right.
If a person doesn't cherish you enough to do that, they're not for you. In the words for a future, they for the streets. That's where they need to go. They need to go to the streets, because that right there, like you said, it gets worse. Because what happens is, like my dad told me when I was younger, and even like my sister's raising my niece, he was explaining that bad habits are like feet. Right. They don't get smaller over time. They get bigger and bigger. So when you're in these type of relationships where you're hollering and screaming at each other, you're being disrespectful, and that's normal. Eventually that slowly over time gets to throwing things.
Yes.
at each other. Then it goes from throwing things at each other and throwing things, hitting each other with things. Then it goes from hitting each other with things to straight up just hitting each other.
Right.
Then it goes from hitting each other to potentially killing each other.
Well,
and so
that's what happened with this young lady I was talking about. We started getting verbally aggressive. Then it escalated to physical aggression with one another. And hey, before I knew it, you know what I mean? It was on. It was on and popping, and I had to remove myself. But at the same time, it happens where, hey, that's love. I've seen it. Especially as a social worker, when people are getting stabbed, people are getting beaten, and they don't want to lose that partner because that's love to them.
Well, I think that for a lot of people, they, one, it's become normalized, but also goes back to my previous point of people feeling like they can't do any better than what they're doing.
Right.
And so I tell you, I say this to anybody listening to this. That is not love. It's not love at all. And if someone would put hands on you and tell you they love you, you need to leave them alone. Right. Because what they'll start doing is trying, that is someone that is grooming you and someone that is trying to gaslight you, because they're telling you that if you hadn't made me do that, I wouldn't have put hands on you.
And so that's when it's a toxic relationship, is when, when people start making excuses for people. Well, see, he only hit me because, man, he caught me with that, talking to that other dude. Man, I should have never called that girl. If I had never called her, you know what I'm saying, she wouldn't have bust my car windows open. It was me. That's the toxicity. That's that level where you start to think, because of the gaslighting, that you're wrong. Even if you did do some foul stuff. People are foul. People do some real stupid things. But you probably wouldn't be looking for another partner if that person was treating you the right way. You get what I'm saying? There had to be something to lead you to even deciding to give your number to the other person or to text back with the other person. Whatever the case was, all right, even though you did wrong, all right, did you deserve to get smacked in the face? Did you deserve for your, for your windows to get busted out your car? And I've been around all that. And so I've seen it all. Black eyes and some more stuff. Did you really deserve that?
Not at all. I mean, for me, and I've been I'm not gonna lie and say that I haven't been in relationships like that, toxic relationships, where I would be depressed and I would just shut down and just not even want to be dealing with anybody, because I would be like just going through it, because I was one of those people where I felt like I couldn't do any better, because I thought that when you love somebody, you'll do whatever you can to make it last, in order to make the love stay. And so I would give and give and give and give and give up who I was to create this peace and this love. But what I was doing really was I was creating this incredible pain inside of myself, where I was resentful, I was angry, I was frustrated, and it was all building up inside of me. And I was mad at myself, and I was mad at the person. And so what I had to do, what finally helped get me through that, through those phases where I was settled for baby back bullshit, I had to really start working on my relationship with God. And I don't say that from a standpoint of just preaching at people, because that's not our point. That's not our place here. But taking and putting myself here and sitting down and having that relationship with God, and then understanding that what God has for me, this wasn't it. Right. And like I was saying in the last episode about what Steve Harvey was saying of how God moves people out of our lives because he saw things that we didn't see. He heard conversations that we didn't hear. And so because he saw and heard those things, he's making moves that we wouldn't have made on our own. And so when I started putting things in God's hands, I started praying and I started having those relationships with that trying to work on my relationship with God. God started removing things out of my way that allowed me to see things in a much clearer way. Clearly. And I could understand that, whoa, this isn't okay. We're arguing and something as simple. Now you calling me on my name. Something as simple as I didn't answer the phone when you wanted me to answer the phone. You're calling me out my name.
Now you a B, and you you probably got some woman over there. That's why you didn't pick up the phone. And see, the thing is, the spiritual intervention that I think people forget is by nature, man is always looking for a higher power. Always, by nature, even if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in this and that. That's the reason why we have this connection. All right, eternity is in our hearts. It tells you that in the Word of God, right? And I fully believe that people always try to fill what's in here with outside material things or people or whatever they need to do, but you cannot fill what's meant for God.
So, well, not even just that. We are looking to be led.
Yeah.
But
somebody,
you know, and the thing about it though is, in order to get the best out of any relationship that you're in, regardless of what type of relationship it's in, if you're a man with a man, woman with a woman, man with a woman, whatever, you know, because there's so many different combinations of relationships nowadays. It's imperative that you value the person that you're with, right. Respect the person that you're with. Cherish the person that you're with. And the reason that I'm saying to do those three things, and it is because you never know how long that person's going to be in your life for. Sometimes it's for a season. Sometimes it's for eternity, you know, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to be in a relationship with someone where you feel tolerated instead of celebrated.
Exactly.
You know, you want to be in a relationship that is going to be fruitful, push you to be better, push you to grow and help you and nurture you. And you do the same for the other person. You want to be somebody else's peace inside of their storm. You don't want to be the storm that is disrupting their peace.
Right. Because it's rough on its own. And then you come home to someone who you can't even get peace when you come in the house. Like you don't feel a peace or a presence of love when you enter that house. Man, that makes you so depressed. And I've been there. You get so depressed, you don't want to go home.
Yeah, it gets to the point to where you hate to see them come in the door. You're like,
oh, there they go.
They're calling again, or they texting you. I'm not even gonna respond. But then you slip up and you open the message, so now there's a red receipt. So
and they're like, oh, I know you looked at it.
I know you looked at it. I seen the bubbles. I seen the bubble that you was typing something.
And then you stopped.
And then you stopped. So it's things like that where, you know, through experience, because life is the best teacher.
Right.
You know, we're saying all the things that we're saying because we've experienced it. You know, we've lived it. Right. You know, some things I learned from reading books because I like to read a lot. Other things I learned from either experiencing it firsthand. You know, my father calls it a graphic illustration. Put your hand on the stove, get burned after people told you not to do it. You got to get you some anyway. But other times I learned through watching other people experience things, you know, and that's where I can tell you, you know, when, you know, the story I shared about my coworker where her boyfriend told her, ain't no man gonna want you with all those kids. That stuck with me profoundly. And that is why as a man, I can tell you, you know, there are a lot of men who think just like that man, just like that guy.
And he's no different than a lot of people I know.
You know, where
people like, oh, she got 4-5 kids. Anybody want her? Well, there is somebody who's going to want that woman
and will cherish and respect her.
Cherish and respect her and treat her better than you do. And that's what men don't realize. Like, I might not want a woman with 5 kids. I'm getting old. I can't chase 5 kids. Now you got 2. I can work with 2. But I can't chase 5. I'll probably tell you right now, I'm not the one, but there's plenty of men out there that will take you. Now, if you got 5 grown ones and they ain't in the house, man, hey, I might be your man. but there's someone who's going to love you.
But even with having a lot of kids, you know, like I was saying earlier about the double standard, you know, for men and women, there's a huge difference. With women, you bring the kids with you to any future relationships that you go with. Whereas men, whereas men, short of the mother being an unfit mother, you know, unless you're Rob Kardashian or Tyga, where you got the kids a majority of the week.
You got to.
So, you know, you got the kids a majority of the week. Like literally she put on there that she needs child support. He like, well, I got to pay child support. And I got the kid 6 days out of the week. The only day And it turned into this whole internet meme where people were like, those kids will never experience Chick-fil-A because the only day that they're with their mom is on Sunday. Yeah. I was weak. I was done. But Tyga has his son majority of the week except for Sunday, and Rob has his daughter the majority of the week except for Sunday. So unless you're one of those two men, most times, you get to pack up and start over fresh. Man. Whereas as a man, you got to have a certain level of maturity. You got to be operating at a certain level, a certain frequency, right, to be able to step into an already established family and be able to lead, because people are already settled into who they are and who they want to be in that ecosystem. You got to come in as the new lion and establish dominance and show that I'm able to lead, and I'm able to, and I'm willing to be consistent. And that's where, for me, as a man, if it is imperative that young women understand that when you are having these children and you move on and you get your life together, that any man that steps to you needs to have his stuff together. Right. He needs to have his stuff together, because the things that happen to you don't just affect you, they affect your children. And that is where, we as human beings are not like, we're not like lions or zebras or gazelles. We're not meant to be surviving through life. Right. Childhood is not meant to be something to be survived.
People are in survival mode. They're bouncing from person to person. Just, hey, this person's going to help me pay rent. This person's going to help me with my car. This person's doing this. It's survival mode. They're operating in crisis mode is what we call it. You're always in a crisis. Oh, I can't pay rent this month. I was dealing with this dude. He just left. I need a new dude. That's crisis. You can't live life like that because your kids are living life like that.
Exactly. And it sets that bad precedent for them. So It's very imperative that, and I said it in the last episode, in order to find the ones that you're supposed to be with, you got to go through the ones that you're not supposed to be with, because you start to learn what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And that's where I'm not telling anybody listening to this, I'm not saying, don't quote RJ as saying, don't ever be in relationships with people. Don't experience what people have to offer you, because you can learn something from anybody. But again, take the time to know who you're dealing with before you start to take that next step. For me, like I've dated young ladies, and it's become a question of, well, why haven't you tried anything? And I'm like, at first I was like, tried anything? Like, is it what? Like, like you ain't felt me up. You ain't this, you ain't that. Like that was confusing to them. And I wasn't.
Well, I'm trying to date you so I can know. So now I know who you are. You just looking for a quick hit. So I gotta try this differently.
Well, wasn't that? It wasn't that's what they were looking for, but that's what they've become used to.
Right.
That's what the expectation was that men were looking to sleep with them. Men were looking to slide in, to smash, whatever you want to use. That's all they were interested in. They were interested in getting to know the person. They were interested in getting to know the hot pocket, and so it's imperative, that you are going on those dates. He's cute. You're cute. You're into him, he's into you. There's definitely that attraction there, that physical attraction. But again, it's better that you take the time to get to know the person that you're with than to just jump into something that is going to ruin your life.
Right.
Because that is very, like we are looking at a steady incline of just violence against people, period. So when I say ruin your life, people are killing people without even thinking about it.
Right.
And it's not even over something serious. Now, there's certain things I'm not gonna lie to you about. There's certain things where you try me, I'm not even gonna hold you. You getting it.
Right.
There are certain things that they're non-negotiable. I'm not playing about. But we are just throwing our lives away, and for what? And so that's where, like I said, about ruining your life is taking the time to understand who you're dealing with and understand if this person meets the qualifications of the position that you're trying to fill.
Right.
Because if not, you're dooming yourself to a relationship that is going to be unfulfilling, that is going to be draining, that's going to be taxing, and that is going to slowly suck the life out of you. And it's not going to be until you hit that rock bottom that enough has become enough that you're ever going to try to escape.
And look, once you hit rock bottom, you probably lost a lot on the way down.
You probably lost a lot that you will never recover.
And you're not going to recover. I ain't got my ring light on, so we're going to have to renegotiate this one, folks, but try not to overthink it. This relationship thing is real.
Yeah, most definitely.
This is real. This is your life you're playing with, your children's lives you're playing with. You're bringing people into the home. You don't know these people. You haven't dated them. We haven't established boundaries with them. We haven't established what you want out of the relationship. We haven't done any of those things. What expectations you have for them and for you. So
most definitely.
This is serious for folks, man. We need to revisit this another time, RJ. Most definitely.
I definitely agree. So we're gonna end it right there. So if you like what you heard, if you didn't like what you heard, we ask that you continue to participate in the conversation with us. Share this, like it, spread the word, and then we hope that you check us out next time. We want you to join our tribe and be a part of the village. Because again, we're just two individuals, and we want to share our thoughts and our feelings and our opinions with you guys. We appreciate you for your time.
Thank you. Blessings.
Most definitely blessings.